Hey folks, it's Neil from Anchor Ranch Farm in beautiful Scio, Oregon. The Christmas season is almost upon us, and it looks like we will not be getting the potential Christmas deluge that we were warned about yesterday. So right now we're experiencing some very balmy Central Willamette Christmas time weather. This is a blessed season. It's a time to be joyful and happy and celebrate, but it's also traditionally a time to think a little bit more about what we can do for those who are less fortunate than ourselves. Our son is really liking the Good King Wenceslas carol this year. That's the one that goes, Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen. And it's a song about a good king who goes out into the winter cold to bring food and drink and warmth to a poor peasant. We try to do what we can with what we produce on the farm. And one of those things that I thought we could do is share information. I've been thinking about making this video for a while, and I figured now is the time to just get it done, get it out there. This is 4 things. I think 4. I might come up with more, but 4 things that you can do to eat well and save money when you're on a limited budget. And look, I don't know if you folks know this, but there are a whole heck of a lot of small business opportunities that look way better in a discounted cash flow model than small family farming. So these are things that we do or have done at some point. If you're on a limited budget and you want to eat healthy, natural, good food, maybe this will help. So 4 things. First, cook your own food at home. Second, spend your money on meat. I'll get to that. Third, buy in bulk. And 4th is grow your own. And I promise you can grow at least some of your own food, no matter what. So the first thing, cook at home. I think this is obvious. It costs more money to go out to eat the same thing. And it tends to be less healthy for you. You care more about it. Not that, much love to people who cook food for other people for a living, but in the end, you care more about what goes into your food, and you know more about what you want and need than they do. Cook your own food at home. Now, still go out. When you can afford it, go out once in a while. There are some really good dishes that it just does not make sense to make on your own. They're a whole lot of work. They're good, but they're a whole lot of work. And it's just better to have a full kitchen staff doing that for you. You get ideas. It's fun. It's nice to go out for special occasions, so somebody doesn't have to be in the kitchen all the time and can actually participate in the conversation. So that's all a good thing. But for the most part, cook your own food at home. It'll be healthier, and you'll save money. Now, I get it. I've done shift work where your schedule's all over the place. I've worked months at a time where my average work week was 80 hours plus, not including commute time. It's hard to put a meal on the table, a home-cooked meal on the table every day. And what we do a lot, which I highly recommend, get a slow cooker or crock pot. There's branded names, whatever you want to use. You don't have to, there's expensive ones with a lot of bells and whistles, but you don't have to get an expensive one. It just needs to have a heating element that, and you plug it in, turn it on, and it'll, turn itself off after you want it on a timer so it can turn itself off after a certain amount of time. Do that. What we'll do a lot of the time is we'll get the meal prepped the night before, get it into the pot of the slow cooker, put that on the refrigerator overnight, and then when you get up in the morning, all you have to do is take it out, plug it in, and set it, and you have a hot home-cooked meal ready when you get home. So do that. You can do a lot of different dishes in a slow cooker. It's not hard to do. When in doubt, add liquid, and that'll help smooth over any problems that happen. But you can do whole chickens in a slow cooker. You can do a lot of stuff. There's a lot of recipes out there. So do that, and as much as you can, cook at home. Number 2, when you're spending money, spend money on good, naturally raised meat. And there's 2 reasons for that. And I'm not saying that because we're a livestock farm. In fact, we're kind of a livestock farm in part because of this. 2 reasons. One is, look, being a livestock farmer is different. Being a livestock farmer is, I don't want to say a lot of work. I mean, a lot of people probably work pretty hard, but it's a big commitment. Look at it this way: if you forget to water your tomato plant and it dies, that's one thing. If you get home late from your kid's swim practice and you didn't get home in time to lock up the chicken coop and a raccoon got in there and killed all your chickens, that's a totally different thing for most people, I think. So it's a big commitment. It's a lifestyle choice. Hey, if you want to do it, join us. Great. We need more small livestock farmers. But if that's not your thing, then go ahead, pay somebody else to do it for you. And take, you have your own responsibilities. Pay somebody else to take on that responsibility of producing good, natural, healthy, humanely raised meat for you. Now, the second reason is a health reason, and that is if you care about, which I assume you do if you're watching this, if you care about poisons and nutrition and things in your food, think about if you're eating just conventionally grown produce that has junk on it, you can wash that off. Sure, it's not perfect, but you can wash it. You can eat a variety of different foods, so you're not you're not ingesting the same poisons and pesticides all the time. You're getting if one thing doesn't have the right kind of nutrition, you're getting it from somewhere else. So you can kind of make that work. If you're eating meat and you're buying conventionally raised, confined animal feeding operation animals, they're being pumped full of grain or pig slop or whatever it is. That stuff isn't getting washed. That stuff is full of chemicals, toxins and things. They're not getting the nutrition that that they should be, and it's just the concentration of that in the meat is so much greater than the concentration in a single piece of produce. You really you're getting a lot more poisons and you're losing a lot more nutrition when you buy conventional meat versus when you buy conventional fruits and vegetables. Now, and I'll get to how you can afford it, but certainly, if you can at all possibly do so, get good produce. But if you have to pick one thing, spend your money on good meat. And to be honest, I don't think that's on a limited budget. I don't think that's hard to do. Yeah, it costs more to raise animals the right way. And you're going to have to pay for that. But you know what? You can stretch meat. You can stretch a chicken a lot of meals, by adding other things, other things into the meal. So buy good meat, and if you have to eat less of it, do that. You'll be fine. So, third thing, buy in bulk. Here's a way that you can afford good meat, and you can afford good produce. Buy in bulk. Now, let me do the produce first. For produce, if you go to farmers markets, to small farmers, pretty much every small farmer will have seconds. And these are items that, and they'll have a lot of seconds. And these are items that there's nothing wrong with them. There's no bugs in them. They're not moldy. They're not old. They just look weird. They've got a weird discolored spot on them, or it's a carrot that looks too much like an anatomy lesson. And they're like, well, I have limited space to take, in the coolers the truck to take this stuff to the market. I don't know if this is going to sell. I'm going to bring my best looking, because we, human beings, we part of looking of food for us is the way it looks. And so farmers are going to bring their best looking stuff to the market, because that's the stuff that's more likely to sell. So they'll have a whole bunch of seconds, okay, great. Ideally they're feeding that to livestock, but raising livestock is a big commitment and it's different. And so maybe they don't do that. And so for the most part, that stuff just rots in the field, or gets composted, which is great. Okay. But in the scheme of things, that farmer would much rather sell you a box full of seconds at a substantial discount and at least make like their cost back, rather than just, composting is great, but there's other things you can compost. So the edible parts, they would want to sell that to you at a really good discount that still, gets them some money back from what they spent to grow that. So go to them and say, hey, do you have any seconds? Can I pay you, whatever, make me an offer, and, can I pay you for a box full of stuff when it's in season? For the most part, most small farmers are going to be very happy to do that deal with you. You get really good food that, so it's not, perfectly round, whatever. It still tastes just as good. It's still just as good for you. And you're helping out your local farmer. So do that. For meat, if at all possible, get a chest freezer. They're cheap. A chest freezer it's a cooling element in a box that's insulated. So you don't need to get a new one. You could buy them online, buy them used. Just, when you're going to go check it out, ask the person to plug it in before you head over. If you get there and you stick your hand in and it's cold, the thing works. You can buy it. That's all you need to know. That way. So for us, and I'm pretty sure this is true for any small livestock farmer, we make a better profit when you factor in all of the costs in terms of driving and storage and inventory cost and marketing and all that kind of thing. We make much more money selling you a half pig at a very substantial discount to our normal retail prices than we do selling that half pig in pieces at our top end retail prices. If you should, so you get a discount and we still make more money. We'll do that trade every time, just because the time and the gas and the storage, the freezer electricity, the space, the headache of having to sell bits and pieces here and there, just adds up and makes it much more expensive to sell piecemeal at retail than just sell you a whole or a half animal or whatever, or a bulk sale of a bunch of chickens. And I'm pretty sure that's true for other small livestock farmers also. So if you can save up, scrape together enough to buy meat in bulk, you can get this. It's the same meat as at retail. In fact, you get to choose how it's cut up and packaged and everything. So it's probably better for you than buying it at a market. And it's substantially lower in price, and you're not hurting the farmer. You're doing the farmer a favor by taking away all that extra work of having to drive this stuff around to markets and pay the market fee and store it and all that kind of stuff. So if you can get a chest freezer so that you have space, so you can get a quarter beef, get a half pig, whatever you can find that's local and good, do that. Now If you don't think you have room for a chest freezer, it really comes down to having an electrical circuit, because a chest freezer, think about it this way, if you go in every Sunday or whenever you kind of like go through a meal prep for the week and take out the meat that you're going to use and put it in your normal refrigerator to defrost, you only have to open that chest freezer one time a week. So the rest of the week, that's a table. Put a cloth over it, and that's a table or a counter or something. So pretty much everybody, even in a one-bedroom city apartment, you can have a chest freezer. It just depends on whether you have the electricity available to run it. But if you can't get a chest freezer, think about setting up a buying club. A buying club is just a group of friends or acquaintances or neighbors who go in on, say, half a cow together. All pull your money together, get the discount, show up together, or, it goes to somebody's house and you parcel it out between everybody who, and each of you takes the amount that you can fit in your normal fridge freezer. And, then when you run out, say like, hey, let's do this again. And, you can get the same. It doesn't matter if a farmer is selling to you or to you and all your friends. If you can write a check or, for the amount for a half beef or whatever, great. Split it up however you want after the fact. You can't sell it. Don't resell it. That would be illegal. But, you can all pool your money together and buy stuff that way. That's totally fine. So, really look at buying in bulk. That'll save you a lot of money. And then, of course, buying produce in bulk, canned stuff, freeze stuff. Buy things seasonally. Don't spend a bunch of money on a hothouse, organic tomato that's grown completely out of season and it costs 3 times as much or whatever. Buy tomatoes locally in season, and then, can them, or dry them, or freeze them, or whatever. Make stuff out of them, and you'll get more nutrition from buying things seasonally, and it'll cost less. And then the fourth thing, grow your own. Container gardening in a plastic storage container type thing. Drill some holes in the bottom and the sides for drainage. Fill it with a potting soil mixture, or maybe some gravel in the bottom also for drainage. You can grow it doesn't even have to be outside, as long as you have sunlight or window somewhere, or grow lights can grow food also. You can grow a lot of, say, salad mix in a really small container like that, in the sunlight from a window. And that's the sort of thing that, salad mix starts going bad as soon as you pick that lettuce. Starts, tasting worse, starts wilting. So getting that fresh cut salad for your salads, it's really, really good. Anybody can do that. Obviously, homegrown tomatoes are a big thing. Don't do staples. Don't do, let somebody else do the big cabbages. And I guess you could try growing potatoes in a garbage bag or a container or something. But, squash, stuff like that, the melons, big things like that. Let somebody else do that. Let a farmer do that. But the things like, tomatoes, salad mix, there's a lot of things that to get good quality, you have to spend money, that you could do better at home, just growing it yourself in a container. So try that, and that's a nice way to, sort of add a little bit extra nice stuff. And herb garden, again, fresh herbs are hard to find and expensive. You can do that in a container, and that adds that little extra level of nice stuff to your to the food you're eating on a limited budget. And after you do all that, I would say, don't worry so much about just buying. Don't kick yourself over buying cheap conventional staples. bread flour that's not organic, that kind of thing. If you're eating good meat and you're getting some good seasonal produce when you can, and you're growing some of your own stuff seasonally, yeah, if you could, it would be nice to get better staples like potatoes and flour and that kind of stuff. But you're on a limited budget. You have to save money somewhere. We live in a socioeconomic and farming system that makes a lot of that stuff very, very cheaply. Go ahead and buy it cheap. Don't kick yourself over it. When you save up money and you have a better handle on your career or whatever, you're not spending all your time raising young kids, so you can grow more yourself. Things will even out. But for the time being, when you're on the limited budget, on the staples that you can get cheaply, you can get the 5-pound bag of rice for really cheap at the discount store. Go ahead and do it. It's not gonna be horrible at the end of the day. So I hope that helped. One of the longer videos that I've done, but as I said, this is something I've been thinking about for a while. We would really like to find more ways to share our naturally raised meats with more people, with people who are on a limited budget, because I think everyone ought to be able to eat this way. This is the natural way that we're supposed to be eating. It's I almost want to say criminal that so many people can't afford to in our society. So I hope this helps. Merry Christmas. Don't talk about your carbon footprint at the Christmas dinner table if you don't want to get slapped. Okay. Merry Christmas. Peace be with you.